Welcome to Strategic Faultline, where geography shapes power. A rusting warship sits on a reef that almost disappears at high tide. The Philippines placed it there deliberately. Its mission explains why legal rights, physical presence, and control at sea are not the same thing. On July 20th, 2026, Philippine and Chinese personnel confronted each other beside the BRP Sierra Madre. Manila said Chinese Coast Guard personnel struck a Philippine sailor with a wooden baton and damaged a rubber boat. Beijing said the Philippine side attacked first and rammed a Chinese patrol boat. 2 days later, their foreign ministers exchanged protests. The accounts conflict. The location does not. Second Thomas Shoal lies west of Palawan, inside the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, and roughly 1,300 kilometers from mainland China. Parts emerge at low tide, but the natural feature is submerged at high tide. There is no island or permanent ground. Only about 20 nautical miles away, China built a large artificial outpost on Mischief Reef. Here, distance is the first layer of power. After China established a presence at Mischief Reef in the mid-1990s, Manila made an unusual move. In 1999, it deliberately grounded the Sierra Madre on Second Thomas Shoal. The vessel was an aging tank landing ship, built for a very different war. Instead of carrying troops onto a beach, its hull became a fixed outpost. A small Philippine military contingent has remained aboard, maintaining a physical presence where no natural island exists. The grounding created no land and settled no law. It created a logistical obligation. The contingent needs food, water, equipment, rotation, and repairs. Supplies must cross open water from the Philippines. Every mission can be followed, blocked, inspected, or pressured. The outpost exists only while Manila can sustain it. The ship is the symbol. Resupply is the mechanism. That mechanism explains why coast guards and small boats matter more here than destroyers. China demands that the ship be removed and says Philippine vessels enter Chinese waters without permission. The Philippines says its missions are lawful operations inside its maritime zone. Between those positions lies a contest designed to change facts without starting a conventional naval battle. A blocked boat can matter more than a missile if it makes the garrison impossible to maintain. In 2016, an arbitral tribunal under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea clarified the legal picture. It found that Second Thomas Shoal is a low-tide elevation. The feature generates no territorial sea or exclusive economic zone of its own. It lies within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone and continental shelf, with no overlapping Chinese maritime entitlement under the convention. The award is final and binding under the treaty process. China rejected the case, did not participate, and still calls the award null and void. That distinction matters. An exclusive economic zone is not sovereign territory. It gives the coastal state defined resource and jurisdictional rights. Because the shoal is submerged at high tide, the tribunal did not turn it into a Philippine island. Law settled major questions of maritime entitlement. It did not remove ships, deliver supplies, or enforce access. That is the first layer of the problem. If this analysis is useful, support Strategic Faultline with a like and subscribe. It helps keep these reports clear, focused, and independent. Now the deeper question is how pressure turns into control. The answer is not a flag on a map. It is endurance. If Philippine crews can reach the Sierra Madre, rotate personnel, and keep the hull habitable, Manila preserves an operational fact. If access fails or the ship stops functioning, the balance changes without any formal transfer of territory. The danger became clear in June 2024, when a resupply confrontation left a Philippine sailor seriously injured. Manila accused the Chinese Coast Guard of intentional ramming. Beijing blamed the Philippine vessel and defended its control measures. A month later, the two governments reached a provisional arrangement for resupply missions. It reduced friction, but reconciled neither legal positions nor strategic objectives. The July 2026 confrontation shows that management is not resolution. This is gray zone competition in its pure form. Coast Guard cutters, rigid hull boats, water cannons, barriers, boarding actions, cameras, and diplomatic notes apply pressure below the level of open war. Each action is limited. Together, they shape who operates, who remains, and whose rules govern daily behavior. The objective is not always to seize the shoal in one dramatic move. It can be to make the other side's presence steadily more expensive and more dangerous. The United States changes that calculation, but not simply. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty links Washington and Manila. Their 2023 defense guidelines address attacks in the Pacific, including the South China Sea. They state that an armed attack on either country's armed forces, aircraft, or public vessels would invoke mutual defense commitments. That definition includes both Coast Guards. That language strengthens deterrence. It does not mean every collision, water cannon attack, or baton strike automatically produces a military response. Governments must still assess the facts and decide how to respond. This ambiguity creates two opposite risks. If the threshold appears too high, coercion below it may continue. If every encounter is treated as a treaty test, a local clash can acquire strategic weight far beyond the shoal. Both sides therefore operate under restraint and pressure. China can use maritime law enforcement and numerical presence. The Philippines can publicize encounters, maintain the outpost, and draw diplomatic support. The alliance remains a warning, not a mechanical trigger. The Sierra Madre is deteriorating, but its strategic function remains clear. It connects four layers of power: geography, law, presence, and logistics. Geography puts the shoal near Palawan and beside a larger Chinese outpost. Law defines maritime rights. The ship supplies physical presence. Resupply makes that presence durable. None of these layers works alone. That is why an old warship on a nearly invisible reef matters. The legal award explains who holds maritime rights under the convention. The patrols and supply missions determine what can be sustained day after day. At Second Thomas Shoal, control is not a single declaration. It is the ability to remain. If this report helped clarify the issue, subscribe to Strategic Faultline and share your view in the comments. The next report will follow another pressure point in global power.